खुदा का खास एक इनाम है ये औलिया अल्लाह.
My question in the court of Amina Ahl Sunnah, Damat Barakatuhum al-Aliyah, is that please mention an easy way of becoming a saint.
There is neither an easy nor a difficult way of becoming a wali. Sainthood is attained through the bestowal of Allah Almighty. If somebody says that I'll do this, that, read such and such thing, do such spiritual exercises, and then I'll receive sainthood, or do X amount of spiritual exercises, and then sainthood is given, then having such beliefs and ideologies is misguidance. So having the belief of one being able to attain sainthood through his efforts has been considered as misguidance by Imam Ahl Sunnat Imam Ahmad Raza Khan Ali Rahmatur Rahman. So sainthood is Wahabi, meaning granted only if it's given by Allah Almighty.
As you've talked about that Wilayat cannot be earned, it is Wahabi, it's from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala. So are there any kinds of Wilayat, and how can someone know that he has become the friend of Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala?
There are numerous saints who are unaware of their sainthood. There are various types of sainthood.
Alright.
Ghawthul Akbar, this is our Ghawth-e-Pak, Ghawthul Azam, Qutbul Akbar. Similarly, Imam Mahdi will become Qutbul Akbar. Ghawthul Azam, Imam Hassan Mujtaba, he was a Sahabi of Holy Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and appointed on the rank of Qutbul Akbar. So anyhow, saints generally exist amongst common people as well, but they themselves are unaware of their sainthood.
So, if someone gets sainthood, then it is not necessary that he should also be aware of this fact.
This is not a condition.
Okay,
and
it's not a
neither
condition.
the manifestation of a saintly miracle is a condition for becoming a saint. It's not.
Please guide us that. If someone presumes someone to be a saint of Allah, before presuming everyone to be a saint, is there any set criteria or any guidelines for any common person to know that somebody is a saint of Allah or not?
If there is an apparently pious person, then there is no harm in keeping a good opinion about him that he might be a wali of Allah. Moreover, he shall be respected. You know, in Akhlaq-e-Salihin, a book written by the Khalifa of Allah Hazrat Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh, Shamshir-e Ahle Sunnat, Faqih-e A'zam, Hazrat Abu Yusuf Muhammad Sharif Kotlavi Rahmatullahi Ta'ala alayh. It's a small book. Maktabatul Madinah has also published it. It's stated in it that Allah Almighty has concealed His pleasure, i.e. kept it hidden, kept it concealed in righteousness, in virtuous deeds, and kept His displeasure concealed in His disobedience, in sins, and kept His awliya concealed amongst His people. Now He's explained this in the following manner, that we do not know that which righteous deed brings about the pleasure of Allah Almighty, so that a person even acts upon the apparent smallest of the virtuous and pious deed, as it's possible that biggest of the virtuous deeds do not become a means of His forgiveness, and an apparently small-looking virtuous deed becomes a means of His forgiveness, as it is stated in a blessed hadith, where Holy Prophet sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam has stated that a person removed a thorny branch from the path of Muslims so that it doesn't harm them. Due to this, he was entered into the paradise. Apparently, it's a small deed, so a person shall not leave even the smallest of the virtuous actions. And now, sin. It is possible that biggest of the sins get forgiven, but a minor sin, Saghira, you would have heard about Saghira sin. It refers to a minor sin. Kabira sin, i.e. major sin. So it's possible that Allah Almighty gets displeased over a Saghira, a minor sin, and punishes a person and throws him in the hell. Therefore, we shall neither commit a major nor a minor sin. neither should we leave a major nor a minor virtuous deed, because we don't know that which righteous action would bring about the pleasure of Allah Almighty and which sin will make Him displeased. We don't know what is Allah's hidden plan about us. Similarly, He kept His saints hidden among His people, among the ordinary people, so that a Muslim regards, dignifies and respects every righteous person, thinking that he might be a saint, maybe he's one of them, or that person might be a saint. If such environment gets established all around, then I reckon all the disputes would come to an end. Nowadays, being arrogant and considering others inferior is prevalent. As in, who do you think you are? I'll smack you off. This is what's happening. Our society has gone astray. If we develop a mindset of positive opinion and consider everyone to be more pious than ourselves, then Medina, we don't even hold any slightest bit of piety, but regard ourselves to be extremely high and elevated. Like, you would have heard things like, I'm at least better than him, I at least don't do this, I don't do that, I'm at least better than him. Better is only he who has been accepted as being good in Allah's court. We don't know at all. We have no reason to consider ourselves to be pious. We are to consider ourselves to be sinful and not be despair of Allah's mercy either. Ala Hazrat performs humility, whereas he was a saint of Allah. We have no doubt whatsoever in his sainthood. So, Ala Hazrat humbly implores in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, गुनाहे रज़ा का हिसाब क्या वो अगरचे लाख से हैं सिवा, i.e. the sins of Raza are beyond count. But even if there are numerous sins, in millions, मगर ए अफू तेरे अफ़व का, meaning, oh the forgiving one, your forgiving, your forgiveness, ना हिसाब है ना शुमार है. When you start forgiving and open the doors of forgiveness, as no one's sins can harm you anyway, then you even forgive thousands and millions of sins. So, he is a saint of Allah Almighty. But what exactly is he saying about himself? Ala Hazrat has numerous couplets showing humility in Hadaike Bakhshish. There are so many. I am a criminal, O my master, please take me with you, as there is so much catch and detain on the way.
O Allah, may your forgiveness and mercy be my witness of salvation. Otherwise, you are well aware of the sinful phase of Raza.
He said this about himself out of extreme humility.
As you have blessed us with so many beautiful Madani pearls regarding Wali, saint and sainthood, now, as it is said that one of the signs of saint is when you look at him, you remember Allah. What does it mean?
This is also a fact, but we cannot certify anyone for sure.
Alright, the answer you've given to that earlier question, that is separate. This is a new question.
Yes, these signs of saints have indeed been mentioned. Yes, there's a blessed hadith that saint is the one looking at whom makes you remember Allah.
What does it mean that Allah is remembered?
There's a topic on page number 6 of the monthly magazine Faizane Medina, Hadith and its commentary. The one looking at whom makes you remember Allah. Holy Prophet alayhi afdalu salati wa taslim was asked about the saints, i.e. the friends of Allah Almighty. So he sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam replied, Alladhina idha ru'u dhukir Allah, i.e. saints of Allah are those looking at whom makes you remember Allah Almighty. In the commentary of this hadith, Hazrat Sayyiduna Allama Abdul Rauf Manawi alayhi rahmatullahi al-Qawi says, meaning those people who make performing the dhikr of Allah Almighty obligatory, and Allah Almighty blesses them with dignity and eminence. They are those looking at whom makes you remember Allah, i.e. such signs become apparent upon them that make one remember the dhikr of Allah Almighty. If you look at them, then it makes you remember goodness, and if they come somewhere, then looking at them makes people start performing the dhikr. And such a person who keeps in view Allah Almighty and the Day of Judgment, always keeps them in view. When he meets you, then he will converse with you, i.e. talk to you, only with the dhikr of Allah Almighty. And the one who is a slave of his nafs in this world, when he meets you, then he will only talk about this world. Therefore, a person will only speak to you about whatever has been revealed upon his heart. Wallahu ta'ala a'lamu wa rasuluhu a'lam. Azza wa jalla wa sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Sallu ala al-habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad.